Hey, it's working. But half the time, if these stupid webcams they don't work, can't wait until I get my other camera set up. I'm going to need it for to do some presentations. Anyway, this is the third part and the last part for the Joepipe ultra furnace, where I actually said what I already wanted to say on it. So this third part has to do with what other projects can Joshua do concerning concerning application of the Joepipe, so that it's going to meet that it's going to meet the needs of people out there, especially over in Europe, in Russia, and other places where fuel is a lot more expensive than it is here in Canada. The Joepipe furnace itself is a internal nano generator that I like to make. In other words, you take an outside source of fuel. In this case, it would be fuel that's generated by ultrasonic injectors. And the Joepipe refines the fuel, passes it through the heat medium, and when it comes out in contact with the air, it burns with a high intensity flame. So you should be able to get a minimum of 50%. I could say 50% to maybe 500% increase. So this would be substantial. It's time that these oil companies and all that, it's time that the people take back the power on it. And people are controlled by technology, and it shouldn't be that way. Technology should be used to free people. To be eating chips here. Can't get it. Anyway, what other projects? I think the most immediate one would be to use the Joepipe to modify it so into a nano generator where you're using the heat of the Joepipe to take fuel that's already been broken down by ultrasonics and pass it through and out the system. In other words, the fuel is not going to be, the nano fuel produced is not going to be used to run the Joepipe. And so you'd have to increase the heat potential, maybe by insulating in the generator up the temperature by 300-400 degrees. And so the concentric gap where the ultrasonics is being injected would be upwards around 14, maybe 1500 degrees. And it would also be the mixing chamber for adding superheated steam. So you would have fuel that's been broken down into the nano range mixed with steam that's been converted into superheated steam. So you would have an emulsification taking place at around 14 to 1500 degrees. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And if it bonds together well, to use that as a fuel source to run a turbine instead of running a diesel-powered generator, which is not really all that effective compared to a Burt turbine, run a turbine. And so you could actually take waste oils that's you normally get in the city or in the farms and all that, all the stuff that comes out of engines. You could take that, break it down, convert it into a nano fuel, and use it to run generators or turbines. So you could actually have small portable generators that would fit on a flatbed truck, maybe 500 kilowatt or even maybe 1 megawatt generators. That could be portable, affordable. It'd be affordable because you could afford to make the fuel. And the heat that comes off it, you could use the heat that comes off it to heat a greenhouse, and the power off the turbine generator to run the LED lighting system. And if I had the unlimited funding, I would use the heat and power. If you can get heat and power using nano fuel technology at a third or a quarter, then it makes it affordable to take the next step and use that to grow food year-round, even in the cold climates. Why not? It's time that we get away from relying on Monsanto or having to go to the stores and buy food that's been genetically modified. And it's screwing up our minds and screwing up our bodies. So we need to take the power back and join this nano technology, fuel technology, for generating our own heat and power to growing super organic food. And the relocation platform technology, the Lord spoke to me a few times, and He said, I want you to use it for growing food, for a greenhouse. Because the times that we're coming in, if you're not growing your food, you're going to starve. Because the earth is going into a famine. And there are going to be some people out there that are going to take heed, they are going to listen, that we can come together, get our shit together, and begin to build communities that are 100% off-grid, where we can make it through a world famine and make it through the earth changes. I know in my spirit that these places of refuge or safe places that would be separate from the New World Order, that if we're living in harmony with God, with the Creator, the powers of darkness won't be able to touch them, and they know it. If we know God, we also know the weapons at our disposal. And I've seen angels, and they're powerful. They could easily wipe out an entire army. I don't care if they got bulletproof vests on or not. They're toast. If God says to slay them, they're dead. So who has the greater power? But we also need some common sense to not just to get ready in our heart, but also to get ready in the natural, just like Noah did. He knew trouble was coming on the land. And God gave him the supernatural unction to know what to do. He knew what to do because God spoke to him by way of revelation. That's the same way that God speaks to me. I don't have to have a university understanding to know how to do things. I know because of the unction of God's Spirit within me. And He's saying to use the Joepipe technology to make to produce the nano fuel that could run turbine generators to make these greenhouses. So that would be a second application. Another application, I'd like to wrap this up in a minute, is to further develop the Joe cell technology. To make Joe cells and use the Joe cell technology to convert water into a superconductive fuel that could be used as a primary fuel for the Joepipe. And there you would have your unlimited heat and your unlimited power at some point. Okay, I'll be drawing up a series of diagrams and all that and getting this out. I'd like to get a blog going. And I'd like to start on this project right after New Year's. So I'm asking for that $20,000 to get the Joepipe ultra furnace, nano generator, whatever you call it, to get it up and going. I better go before my time is cut here.